Hello everyone, it's me again with Food is a Conversation Alumni Edition. Yes, you saw me this morning already. Today we are doubling to interview some of our alumni, and this evening I have someone dialing in from Germany. And so these conversations are to introduce our ecosystem members who attended any of the educational programs organized by the Future Food Institute, let it be the Food Innovation Master Program, what I myself attended in 2018, or the summer schools, which were happening over the last years, or the boot camps what we are organizing with FAO, and that's actually a very busy organizing the production for our digital bootcamp happening in July. So right now I'm waiting for Viola. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Julia. I'm fine. Thank you. And you?
Very good, thank you. I just quickly finished the introduction and then we can continue with you. So these conversations are happening twice a week. This week is a special one where we have two conversations in one day. We try to host them in the morning and in the evening to cover all the time zones because, as you can imagine, our alumni are located all over the world. So this morning I had a conversation with Chris, who is based in Tokyo, and now Viola, who is based in Cologne. I encourage everyone to please ask your questions in the chat. We will make sure that they will be answered by the end of this session. It is very casual. It's about getting to know the individuals, their stories, how do they connect to the Future Food Network, and how did their journey continue after the program what they have attended. So now, without any further ado, Viola, the stage is yours. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. And thank you also for having me. I think it's a great opportunity to share our stories and our networks. So my name is Viola. I'm from Cologne, Germany, as you already told, and I joined Future Food Institute within a summer school program in 2017. And now I'm happy to share my experiences and my way from there to where I am today in the food system with you.
Great. I'm really excited to hear this story, especially because you are the first person who I actually interview from that summer school. I mean, I had an interview with Chavi, but she also attended the master, so we had different conversations. But I am very interested to hear more about this storytelling and for advocacy summer school, which happened in 2017. And it was also related to the lexicon of food, right?
Exactly. So this was really, a turning point in my foodie career. Basically what I did before is I studied communication science and already was keen on the whole topic of food. As my mother is Italian, I was always like deep diving into foodie topics. But I really wanted to focus on how we communicate through food and how we create an identity with it. So in my bachelor thesis, I really focused on this part, and later on wanted to dive deeper into the topic. And it was really nice because it was really unexpected when I was on holiday with my mom in her hometown in Reggio Emilia, Italy. I just discovered this beautiful glass container and saw the program basically. So I checked it out and saw that like 3 weeks later, there would be a summer course introducing the lexicon of food and storytelling through food advocacy. So I just jumped into it and was super hooked and applied. And got accepted, started this summer school and really felt like we were a bunch of super inspiring, motivated young people that were eager to learn all about organic farming and agriculture and food production. So it was the start for me and a really intense time of sharing knowledge and creating alternative models of a participative food system. And this accumulated in an exhibition at the G7 summit in Bergamo, where we just showed how beautiful actors within our food system already practice sustainable food production and food identity. So this was the start of everything, and it began with the Future Food Institute, which is super cool.
That's amazing. I didn't know your connection to Reggio Emilia. That's so
Yeah.
funny. And you know, before I talk, I'm actually trying to improve my Italian, so I am using an app, and there was a conversation in there about erbazzone. And you know, that's something what I miss so much. I wish someone would make erbazzone. I will need to try it on my own, or just go back whenever I can.
Yeah, I think we should
Yeah.
do an erbazzone date in Berlin when we
Yes,
visit each
sounds
other.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So after this summer school, you actually continued with studying in Italy, not in Reggio Emilia, not in Bologna or Emilia-Romagna, but in another region. And that's a master program. Can you please tell us a bit about this program and the school and your experiences there?
Sure, yeah. As I told you, I was super hooked about the topic and really started to engage with my own local food systems. And back in Germany, I worked in the dairy industry, in the marketing, in food service, and also in a small organic burger shop. I really wanted to see where food waste cross and what to do with them in a more circular and sustainable way. And what I found then was that there's a master program at the University of Gastronomic Science. That's a place that really exists. It's like a magical wonderland for foodies, but also for really like-minded people that want to change the food system. And I applied there for a course in a master in food, culture, communication, and marketing, and started to study in beautiful Piemonte area, which is wonderful and surrounded by good wine and wonderful people. And this is where I really had the chance to dive deeper into sustainable food, in agriculture, in getting my hands dirty, in biodiversity, and different food ways. So food ways that were more connected to politics, to policies. So we discussed the matters because we were all coming from different parts of the world and discussed food ways and how to collaborate and what is key in collaborating and creating resilient food systems that can last longer and that can really serve the planet and the human health. So Polenzo and the University of Gastronomic Science really shaped this angle where I wanted to take more conscious decisions later on when coming back to Germany or when just deciding for my later path and what it would be. So this was a beautiful escape, but will always be like a bubble where I would love to return to and where we could engage a lot in discussions and also food. I mean, we sat mostly around tables discussing, eating, and sharing. So beautiful.
Such an enjoyable education, right? I can highly recommend to everyone. What kind of education can you have better where you actually eat all the time? So during these studies, another project was born, if I get the dots and stories together, which is called the Neue Deutsche Keller.
Yep.
That was born during this time. So please tell our audience a bit about this project.
Exactly. So Neue Deutsche Keller, which is basically a synonym for the new German ladle or scoop, is a project that I created together with friends of mine that I got to know in Polenzo. Also, yeah, we really thought about how to turn the food system more sustainable and more participatory, but especially like what would we do when we come back to Germany? What is our German culinary background, and especially of what is the perception of German food culture? Because we were asked a lot from the other students, like, hey, yeah, do some schnitzel, do some kraut, let's have some German sausage, which is wonderful and which is super delicious, but it's not everything. And this was kind of the start of creating a project where, because we were all really, really into the creation and the movement of the new Nordic cuisine, and took an example there and just thought, what could we do in Germany and what kind of project and like what kind of interactive part could we play in this, and what exactly defines German food culture, and what could it be and could it promote to make the system more resilient and create community and identity above the sausage and crowds look. So we created a kickoff event where what we really wanted and aimed for was to make it as participatory as possible, and having people create their own recipe for change. So actors along the food chain sat at a table, ate beautiful zero-waste, vegan, plant-based food that was reimagining German foods, basically. And we created recipes for change in terms of really actions that can be taken and points in a manifesto that we later published, the Neue Deutsche Keller Manifesto. We'll also send a link later so you can look into. And the plan now is to expand this because it happened, the kickoff event happened in Berlin, and now it's time to expand it to all other cities in Germany, and not only the Berlin food bubble, which is great, but I mean, we all know there are a lot of great projects going on in Berlin, but I think we can turn this whole thing into a movement in Germany.
Definitely. And I think it's also very important because not only in Germany, in other countries as well, one thing what I had to realize or just identify while I was attending the master, that there are countries where you have a very, very strong food identity, and so strong that those cultures are also known by others. And looking at the example of my fellow Indian classmates, they were bringing their spices from home when they moved to Italy, just to make sure that they can comfort themselves with the food, what they are used to, what they know. And if you ask me, I don't cook too often Hungarian food, not because it's not delicious, it is. And I still opt for things when I go home, what I cannot miss before leaving. But I don't think our identity is so strong. Or like when you go to Italy, most of the restaurants, when you go around, are Italian restaurants. And then you are lucky if you actually find another cuisine. While if you go to Budapest, you have to fish for a restaurant which is delivering you or offering you authentic food from local ingredients. So definitely there is space for rediscovery of food cultures. Yeah. And so, yeah, I remember this event. I was one of the lucky participants, actually, in the restaurant called Freya, right? A zero-waste restaurant in Berlin. And at that point, you were very busy with this project, and I think you had something else going on. And since then, you joined another company and great initiative called Too Good To Go. So I would love to hear about that, and also the projects, what happened over the last few months, how Too Good To Go reacted on COVID-19 and different elements, everything. So
yeah,
many
sure.
questions.
So basically, this was my next step because back in Cologne, I really engaged with the small farmers and engaged more with the food production and already had seen what it means to really grow a food and care for it. And then the point is, if it then goes to waste, and this happens with 1/3 of all food right now, and it's horrific. And I really wanted to change this. So I started to work with Too Good To Go, where we dream about a planet with no food waste. And my role in this is to manage strategic partnerships and business development. So do you know, I will just briefly describe Too Good To Go. So we're basically an application that directly links consumers to food producers, and you can buy surplus food at the end of the day at a reduced price, and contribute directly to planetary health and to doing good to our environment by just basically having one click. So saving the planet can be delicious, and it is with Too Good To Go. So the projects we developed beyond the app are educational. So we really want to inform also people in private households about how to avoid food waste and minimize food waste, and really make informed choices. about the own consumption. And yeah, especially during the COVID crisis, we saw that a lot of gastronomes struggled from like one day to another night. They really saw their incomes break down and everything break down. And we thought, what can we do basically, and opened up our platform for our partners and takeaway businesses to really find a way to digitalize their offer and to help them in this special time. And we saw that food waste is a big issue now, as well as before, but now even bigger, and we really have to conquer this all together, and collaboration is key in this. So I'm really happy to be part of this company and these initiatives around it, and also there are really a lot of small projects and initiatives. For example, in my hometown, there's also the Good Food, a small store that closely works with farmers and does the post-harvesting, and they basically give away food waste, but it's not food waste, it's just delicious food that would have otherwise going to waste. And I think we really are the actors of change in that, and can do and show people how to not waste good and delicious food.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we have to use like this phrase or word has to change, because the fact that we call it waste is already creating a perception in the consumer's mind. And as you said, yes, Too Good To Go is giving access to consumers to delicious food. There is nothing wrong with that food what you get before the bakery is closing down. And for the audience, Too Good To Go is also present in multiple European countries. I'm not 100% sure in how many, but most of them, right?
In 14 countries we're now actually live and saving
countries.
food.
Yeah. And basically the program what Viola was explaining was called We Care, right? When you use the existing infrastructure and allowed restaurants and other food businesses to then sell for takeaway or show their products on the platform during the pandemic. So I think it's very important. And there is one more project that you have done, what I would like to ask you to explain, and that's I only know it in German, which is Offlanga Good. So maybe you could tell about that campaign as well.
So Offlanga Good is basically the best before campaign of Too Good To Go, where right now we work and collaborate with more than 50 food producers to inform people in private households about the best before date, and that this doesn't mean that a produce is spoiled after this date, but is often good after. So it's basically three magic words that can do a lot and inform in private households where more than 40% of food is being wasted. And this is more of an educational awareness campaign. And we're really lucky to work now with more than 50 producers. I think at the start of this last year, September, we just aimed for 10, and we really saw like consumers and producers aim for more transparency and more education around this topic. So this is called Offlanga Good, and you already see it in the shelves. Just check out Too Good To Go homepage. You'll find a link on Offlanga Good and can have a look who is joining us in this fight against food waste.
Yeah, I am so amazed by these initiatives, and I do believe that there is already you can already measure impact. I wish I would remember the exact number, but I saw on Instagram recently that there was a research showing that actually consumers now use their sensory feelings to exactly to figure out if the food is still consumable. So this has grown since I think it was since the last 5 years. So there is a positive change happening for sure. So now we talked about, already mentioned a bit the past few months and the lockdown situation, and clearly the consumption and procurement habits changed for almost everyone. if you would need to look through the past months, what do you think? What did you change in your food decisions?
That is a really good question, and I think more than even before, I support short supply chains and small farmers. I mean, before I already discovered what was nearby, but now even more. And I'm really lucky to live in Cologne, where we have awesome initiatives like the Good Food, like food assemblies, Marktschwärmer, where you can directly buy your products from small farmers, support them, get in touch and in contact with them, and help to have a city and a food system within the city that can actually provide the city with fresh and good food. So from buying at those assemblies and digital marketplaces to really support smaller initiatives, I think I did this even more. And also supporting local gastronomy, which is really, really important in those times. So there's this not changed directly, but I think I really did it more often and more conscious and spread the word even more in my networks and at friends.
Yeah. And how do you see it in your immediate surrounding? Because let's be honest, we don't only hang out with people who are involved in the food system. We also have friends who are, their relation to food is only to be consumers. Can you also see this change in these buyer groups as well?
Yeah, I think especially in the lockdown phase, I know that for many people there was more time to reflect on what do I really need. Do I need to go to the supermarket and just haul? Do I need this piece of butter, or can I just cook with the staples that I have and just reduce food waste at the end of the day in my own shelves, because there are so many things that we can just use. And I also discovered like a huge trend of all those sourdough videos and handcrafting and going back to where food really comes from, to harvesting and growing your own food and watching your seeds grow. I think this is really food as an experience has become or has taken a major role now. And I really, really hope that this will last and also accumulate in supporting the farmers that basically are our heroes in those times. And yeah.
Yes, sorry, I'm just checking. My phone battery is dying, but I think we are still good to go for the rest. Sorry for the weird facial expression suddenly. I completely agree with all of this, and I think I did observe the same. However, I also had to make the realization that how different these changes are in different environments, and in urban environments, as much as we are disconnected from our food origin, the opportunities and the supply chains are actually growing, and it is available. With the very little research, people can find a source for these foods. However, on rather like smaller town context, and now I'm talking about Hungary, so I don't know how this is in Germany in that sense, but there it is still very limited to supermarket offers, and you don't necessarily have direct contact with farmers, especially if it's a more industrialized area. Yeah. So we are approaching the end of our conversation, and my final question for everyone is, if you could describe your utopistic food future, or how you see the future of our food system, how would that look like?
So it would start with their own consumption and their own question of asking myself, like, re-evaluating food choices. What do I really need? What can I personally do to promote dietary health, so human health, and also planetary health in the same spot? So what exactly can my choices be? It starts also with a system that opens up and makes those decisions more easy and more affordable and accessible to everyone. So I, as a consumer, let's say I want to sustain me and the planet in a longer term, but this needs more attention on our political agendas, and also financial support for local organic food producers and gastronomy that supports small and short supply chains and sustainable food practices. So this, and also always keeping in mind and planning ahead to not waste any food, would be my ideal way of how our food system can look like if we work together.
Great words, great plans, and thank you for actually fighting for this every single day. I really hope that you can have more and more of these conversations, because I think this is how this has to happen. We have to just reach out to the consumers and educate, and you're definitely doing a great job in this. Thank you so much for your time and for talking to me tonight. And for the audience, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please, it's like your time now. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that you can reach out directly to Viola, or you can just write us a direct message as well. In the meanwhile, we will continue with the conversations next week, Tuesday and Thursday, and introducing more and more alumni from the network. And also, there is one more thing I have to mention. The application for the digital bootcamp happening in July is now open. So I encourage everyone, if you would like to be showcased in one of these live sessions, well, just become one of the alumni and join one of the next educational programs. And the first one is in July, which doesn't need you to travel to Reggio Emilia or Italy, unfortunately, not yet. But we will make sure that you will have global and local discoveries on a digital way. So Viola, thank you so much again. And
thank you, Julia, for involving me in this and reaching out. And everyone stay hungry for more. It's a really great project.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.